Guys, honestly, if you haven't gotten yourself the masterclass, some of these episodes we talk, you don't connect much. This time round, if you don't learn, then I assume you'll never learn. And if this time round, you compile the lessons and the teachings in our masterclass, then you bring and add up to the episodes we give you. If you fail in poultry production, it's your wish. My name is Sir Antonio Innocent Ndongi, your full-time poultry plug. And if you are new to our YouTube channel, guys, kindly hit the subscribe button, like and share. I have done for you like the best masterclasses on poultry. I did a research everywhere before I went into formation and creating of this masterclass. I have done masterclasses for other institutions, both abroad and at home. But then I took that experience that I used to make those masterclasses and added more flavor in our masterclasses. Check out our website, www.aimagriculturefarms.com. There's also a link in the description of this video. And just enroll. If you enroll as my student, send me a WhatsApp text message on +254 723 777 508 and just say, "Hi teacher, I'm here." We'll go together. I'll add you to my group, my WhatsApp group of my students. What is this biggest headache of a farmer? You have layer birds, they have gotten to laying, they are not laying. Oh my goodness, there is nothing that demoralizes the farmer or brings your morale down like that one. Like now, these birds are super feeding, they are eating, they are using lots of money. When the birds are supposed to start laying, this is the time the farmer feels like, I'm relieved, but the birds are not laying. In the previous episode, I discussed how you can make your birds laying machines by discussing the 4 key elements or hormones that stimulate formation of eggs. But in this discussion or this episode, we want to know why they are not laying, or all of a sudden they have just stopped laying. That could be guided scientifically either by the hormones, prolactin hormone being there in high amounts, then leading to cessation of egg production, or the androgens. But before we get there, these ones will be guided by the age of the birds. What is this that will make these birds not lay or stop laying? Number one and most important is the feed. The feed. The feed. You're giving your birds feed. You've even taken the feeds to the labs to test. But still the birds are not laying. You're so stressed. When you're making your feed, in as much as you're paying attention to the percentage of the DCP, I don't mean dicalcium phosphate, I'm meaning digestible crude protein percentage. When you're paying and focusing on that, you should at the same time focus on the sources or the types of this protein or carbohydrates that will lead me to attaining this DCP. Type of protein, plant protein, animal protein is very important in our masterclass. And actually, that's why the feed formulation masterclass is the most expensive on our website. And we are okay with that because of what we've given you in that masterclass. Because feeds is the engine of everything we are doing here. When we go wrong on feeds, they're not getting results. So what I've told you in the masterclass is what you should use. I have told you the amount of supplementation and the level of supplementation. Stick to that. Don't say, Soya is very expensive. Therefore, I'm going to supplement soya with linseed. There's a level you can supplement soya with linseed, which I've mentioned to you in the masterclass. And I've gone ahead and emphasized that soya should not miss in the feed of a laying bird, irregardless. No matter the cost, even though you're substituting soya with a certain supplement, for example, linseed, yes, do that, but not 100% substitution. Give your birds the right feed at the right stage. You'll never have a problem with when to start laying. And you'll never have a problem with your birds not laying. Number 2, water. This experience, I got it in Somalia. That time I was working in a farm called Soma Chicken Farm in Garowe, Central Somalia, or Puntland State. I was working there as a production manager. Then we got to some point where when we were getting our water from the source, we had got too much floods. So the trucks could not get us the fresh water. We were then forced to use the borehole water. The water we had was hard water. It had a very high amount of lime. Actually, it had a very high amount as well of salts, minerals. The moment we gave to the birds, the second day, there was a 50% drop in production. The third day, we were almost operating at no production. And for the chicks, the growth rate was cut. You know, for us, in production, we weigh our birds each other day. When the birds are not laying, we are only able to understand that the bird is on track by observing and checking the weights. So the weights are the ones that will tell us. So we weigh, we compare with the manual. So then water will play a very big role in either enhancing increased production, stabilizing egg production, or dropping egg production, or even cessation of egg production. So give your birds water that is fresh and conducive for human consumption. You saw me doing a video the other day, and I was testing the water. And I was like, you cannot give your birds water that you as a farmer cannot drink. We look at water from 2 angles. Water can be fresh, but then it is not pure. In this case, I'm talking about fresh water. The purity of water depends on your handling and the source. We can get fresh water that is not pure, but then you can purify it by introducing water treatment components. Then you can have the water treated, pure and fit for bird consumption. So then water and feed are the key players in production sustainability. The other things are minor, things like stress. When someone new comes into the flock, colors that the birds are not used to, they will get stressed. Remember, I talked of egg production starting in the brain of the bird. The gonadotrophin hormones produced by the hypothalamus of the brain. When the bird is stressed, adrenaline levels increase. When adrenaline levels increase, automatically they suppress production of the important hormones in egg formation. That is how now stress makes production not to go up. In fact, that is how now stress cuts production. You're introducing new drinkers, you're introducing new feeders, you're introducing new systems. There's too much rain, it's too much cold. That's it. The last factor that makes our birds not to produce much are the external conditions. If it is too cold, the birds will feed more and produce less. Reason being, the FCR is diverted to heat generation in the liver. The feed consumed by the bird in layman's language is then used for generation of heat to sustain the body of the bird in the liver, instead of the feed being used in formation of eggs to be laid. When it's too hot outside, the birds will drink more. There is lesser nutrients in water, and you'll see that there's much feed left in the feed troughs. We say scientifically, the lower the feed production, the lower the feed intake, the lower the egg production. Because what will now be used in formation of eggs? So temperatures, they shouldn't be too high, they shouldn't be too low. They should be optimum or average. When you pay attention to these factors I've discussed in detail, which are factors that you as a farmer can work on, can control, can evade, I'm sure you will not complain of my birds not producing or a decline in egg production. Who loves you than AIM Agriculture? Get to our website, enroll as my student. You will enjoy. I love you. Bye.